So, day one, we had 4 quarterbacks go in the first round. Thus far, only Brock Osweiler picked on day 2 a while ago by the Denver Broncos. Mel, your quarterbacks now that we should be looking at perhaps round 3.
Well, you look at those numbers. Those are third-round numbers. Boom. Russell Wilson, you think about maybe in that third, fourth-round mix. And then the late-round quarterbacks. G.J. Kinney of Tulsa, formerly of Texas. B.J. Coleman, Chattanooga, formerly of Tennessee. All later-round picks, day 3 guys. But certainly Russell Wilson, you think about if he were just a little taller. And I know, John, you get aggravated when I say it. And you say, boy, he is what he is. He's 5'10 and a half. We'll push it to 5'11. I say he's a test case, and I say it for this reason. If you're talking about Russell Wilson in the NFL, he'll get a chance to be a starting quarterback. If he can't get it done for the next 10 years, Todd, I don't want to hear about any quarterbacks under 6 feet in that 5'11 range.
Well, you're
this
gonna.
Can't make it. Nobody can at that particular height.
You're gonna. I mean, he took Wisconsin to the Rose Bowl. They almost won it. He played great at NC State before that. He even played some baseball. So, I mean, if in the offseason he could help you out with in town with the baseball team, I mean, if you really needed. He has a lot of it, though, doesn't he, John?
He has it. What do you want him to do? He's done it in 2 different offenses. You probably downgraded Ray Lewis, didn't you? London Fletcher and Wes Welker. You probably downgraded Sproles and Maurice Jones-Drew. You discriminate against guys that aren't 6 feet tall. Guys like me. Russell Wilson is going to go, and he's going to go real quick. And he's going to be one of those guys that defies the odds. Because the difference between Drew Brees, Michael Vick, and Russell Wilson, size-wise, is that much. That's what you're talking about, Mel. You're starting to aggravate me again.
John, what facts, John? 28 of the 32 starting quarterbacks are 6'2 or taller.
I don't care.
Wait a minute. Nobody under 6 feet is starting in the NFL right now.
6-footers are in this draft? There's not a lot of quarterbacks
in the NFL, John. Over the years, a lot of quarterbacks come along.
Here's the one
test case.
Here's the one thing when you study him on tape. I do think his accuracy dips a little bit when he's in the pocket compared to when he's rolling out. But I haven't scouted. I know I haven't been doing this for 28 years or 29 years. But I've never scouted a quarterback who's under 6 feet tall who can see the field and can do the things that he can do. When I first started watching him, 6th round, 7th round, I didn't give him a chance. I kept watching him and watching him. I got to know him a little bit. I got to study him, and I got to talk to people who were around him. This guy has everything that you look for at the quarterback position. I have him up to 100 on the overall board, and you're talking about a 5'10 quarterback, 5'10 and 5/8 inches. So to me, he is the test case because he shows that somebody his size can get it done. I truly believe at some point in time we're going to be talking about Russell Wilson as a starter in the NFL, and he's going to have a legitimate chance to prove it.
And John, I'm not beating up Russell Wilson. I'm a fan of Russell Wilson. You know that. I mean, I love Russell Wilson. He came on the radio. He's a great kid. I want him to be successful, but he's going to have to beat the odds to do it. That's all I'm saying. Now, he doesn't have many passes batted down at the line of scrimmage. I love that.
Just got drafted, okay, center just got drafted, Peter Kahn. He's 6'6". Zeitler is 6'6". He went in the first round of the Bengals.
Tallest offensive line in all of college football.
He has that over-the-top delivery, and he doesn't have passes batted down. I loved it. And on a scale of 1 to 10 character-wise, he's a 15. All those things. John, I said yesterday, if he was 6'2", he'd be a top 10 pick.
Hold on. Doug Flutie. He's good.
But it's going to take him being Drew Brees. I mean, he's going to have to do every single thing that Drew Brees does, all the little things, because there's limitations there.
And look at Russell watching us. Look at them watching. They're listening to us.
Let me say this.
Nobody can.
Russell Wilson doesn't care. He plays football. Loves the game.
Oh, I think he wants to jump through the TV and come strangle you right now.
Hey, we talked about that. I said to Russell Wilson, Russell, if you're,
he just muted you, Mel.
If you're 5, I'm going to give him credit for being 5'11". You said 5'10", and if he's good enough to make it, he will open up that door. You can't say the quarterbacks down the road, oh, there's 28 to 32 or 6'2" or taller. Okay? You can't say anything about quarterbacks below 6 feet. None of them in the NFL that are starting right now. If you're drafting Russell Wilson in the 3rd round, you're drafting him to be a potential starter.
Correct.
He would have to, I think we can all agree on one thing. He would have to beat the odds right now to do it.
That's fair to say. That's very fair to say. But the odds are beatable.
I have a headache. This kid can play. He's going to prove it to you. He's going to prove it to you. He's going to prove it to everybody. You just wait and see. Let's bring in Bill Polian. I want to hear what Bill Polian says. He's called all these drafts. He studies Russell Wilson.
Number one, he's everything everybody says he is. He's 5'10", and then he's got all the attributes you want in a winning quarterback. He was at Wisconsin for less than a month and elected captain by his teammates. How's that for leadership? He's not going to be a starting quarterback, and that's not what you draft him to be. You draft him to be a backup quarterback who can play 6 games a year, and if he plays 6 games a year, there's every likelihood you'll win 4 if you've got a decent defense. That's a valuable commodity in the National Football League, and he's worthy of a pick in this round, in my opinion.
Well, then it's done.
Pretty good endorsement.
Over. Set your watch. It's going to come in an hour. You know, Russell Wilson was good enough to listen to us, and he's heard it all, and he stands there with poise in the pocket, and he sits there with poise at home in Washington, D.C. We're all going to talk to him when we come back here in round 3, Radio City. Welcome back, everybody, to New York in round number 3 here of the 77th National Football League Draft. We're going to get you caught up on what is happening. We got Mel Kiper, we got Todd McShay, we got John Gruden, we got Bill Polian, we got Chris Mortensen, we got Adam Schefter, we got Truckers on CB, we got Richard Pryor on the video. And now, to the podium where the military has just been honored. Ray Anderson handling the 3rd round announcement.
To announce the 75th selection, it is our honor to introduce Sergeant Luke Boyd of the United States Marine Corps from Baton Rouge, Louisiana.
Thank you very much. With the 75th pick in the 2012 NFL Draft, the Seattle Seahawks select Russell Wilson, quarterback, Wisconsin.
I like this pick. I like this kid. I'm jealous of Seattle. I wish I could coach this kid. 74% completion basically this year. Set an NCAA record for passing efficiency. How many kids master an offense at NC State, show up at Wisconsin, and take the team to the Rose Bowl? They're 2 Hail Marys away from being a national champion. The kid runs 4.50. He can run. You can put some creative passes and runs in for Russell Wilson. He can really hurt you scrambling. He plays his best football when the game is on the line. He has tremendous anticipation and touch, a lot of courage. If I were Matt Flynn and Tavares Jackson, I'd be leery of this kid, because if you give him a chance, and look past the 5'11" or 5'10 and a half, whatever it is, if you give this kid a legitimate chance to win the job, he'll win it. That's how much confidence I have in him. I love his workout, spent a lot of time with him. He can lead your football team. Can he throw the wet football? Because it's going to be rainy up there, Russell. If you're listening to me, get some of those gloves and get used to throwing it in the wet rain. But I like this pick a lot. Really made an impression on me, obviously.
So much of the quarterback position is leadership and intangibles. And I asked him recently when I sat down and talked to him, I said, how were the guys in Wisconsin when you came in from another school for 1 year after they had just won? How did they welcome you? He said, you know, I walked in and I called a team meeting. I said, you did what? He said, I called a team meeting. I told him, hey guys, I know this is a strange situation, but I'm here and I'm here to win, and I want to win. And he said they respected me for doing it. From that point on, I was the leader of the football team. He was a captain, just walking in off the street. Not many guys are able to do that, Mel.
No, and I think when you look at them, when you talk to teams and you said character, they couldn't go any further than 15, 20. You know, scale 1 to 10, 15, 20. I haven't heard that much. When you talk about quarterbacks over the last 30-plus years, boom. John, you've talked about quarterbacks forever. Have you ever talked about a character being off the charts for a kid who's got that kind of ability, throwing the ball? I mean, this kid certainly will get a chance. You talk about whether he's an accent piece, whether he's a guy who has to come in for an injured quarterback, whatever it may be. Can he be a full-time starter? It's going to be very interesting to follow the progress throughout his pro career of Russell Wilson.
He's better than a lot of players that are left in this draft. I think a lot of coaches, you just saw Broyles get picked by the Lions. Broyles, Russell Wilson, these are better football players than players at other positions. That's no disrespect to anybody. Plus, maybe Russell Wilson will grow, Mel. Maybe he'll grow another 3 or 4 inches. Maybe he's a late bloomer.
Well,
I like this guy,
pointed
man.
out, it rains a lot in Seattle. It usually makes things grow. But that's not the point. Seattle now has every quarterback who played in Wisconsin last year other than Aaron Rodgers. They got Flynn, they got Russell Wilson, and Seattle's had a really one of the most intriguing drafts of any of the teams. I mean, you got to look at that. Mort, Russell Wilson on the Seahawks.
You know, when Russell Wilson came into ESPN to visit us a couple of weeks ago, and on our NFL 32 set during a commercial break, I told him, you're going to be a Seattle Seahawk. Now, I couldn't guarantee that, but John Schneider, the general manager of the Seahawks, has had a love affair with this guy for a long time. And Schneider comes from the Green Bay Packers organization, where he was raised, where they draft quarterbacks all the time. They have certain attributes. One of those attributes, and you mentioned the rain boom, is large hands. Russell Wilson had the largest hands of the quarterbacks in this draft, like 10¼ inches. Also has long arms, high release, all those things, plus the intangibles that John Schneider absolutely loved for the Seahawks going into this draft, and he's got them now. So it's falling with that Packers tradition where Schneider came from.
Mort, let me ask you something. What, are you the Swami now? You predicted this 2-3 weeks ago. Is that it?
Well, I think people were aware that Seattle liked him. It was just a matter of where do you take him. I think that the people that like Russell Wilson got nervous when they heard Coach Gruden talk about him going at the bottom of the 2nd round.
Yeah, right. Wait, nice comeback though, Mort. And when we come back here at the draft, we're going to talk to Russell Wilson, who's been, you can see, a great sport throughout it all. Reminds me of what a great sport Thurman Thomas was. We had cameras on him in '88. That turned out okay. Thank you, Russell. Now I can see why at the Gruden camp, and why with you, Todd, and with you, Mel, and why at Wisconsin, and why at NC State. I mean, wait till he gets to Seattle. Wait till he hears how loud that crowd could be in Seattle.